Is your cat just having a fit over something that you just simply can't see? Is your cat chasing the air and you just can't understand why? Are those invisible things your cat's new favorite toy, new favorite game? In this material, we'll talk about why cats chase those invisibles and what's really going on. Is there more than just meets the eye? Interesting topic and hopefully a bit of a fun one, and I've got you covered. Stay tuned. Cats running after invisible things. As a longtime cat owner, let me just say if you haven't seen this in motion and in practice, seen this in action, there's a good chance that you will eventually, quite soon possibly. Your cat, perhaps at the drop of a hat, just running around your house meowing and chasing stuff that, for the life of you, you just can't see at all. With respect to this topic, it's quite layered, but it's really all about the zoomies. That's a fancy schmancy word for what happens when cats, as I call it, take a lap. They just get a wild hair and start running, stalking and hunting whatever they can find, whatever they see, or in some cases, don't see. Ever heard the expression someone say, well, they just need to blow off some steam? I just need to step outside and blow off some steam. Basically, you're doing a whole bunch of nothing, but you're breaking from the norm, getting out of being cooped up. Cats that are bored and have pin-up energy, well, if they can't find a true and honest reason to get that motor going, they'll create one. Sort of like a child playing make-believe. Sometimes a vivid imagination is better than anything a kid could ever find at that local toy store. Cats, well, sometimes a bit of fantasy is in order. That leaf in the yard is suddenly a mouse, stalking a tag because, well, I'm a cat and that's, what I do. So you've got an idea of what the zoomies are, right? Well, where does that chasing the invisible enter the fold of all this? Well, I'll break it down in roughly 3 ways, possibly 4, perhaps 4 ways. The first one involves your cat with a bad case of the zoomies, chasing things that you just can't see. They could be invisible to you, but that doesn't always mean that it's not something. Something is, in fact, there. It could be a dust bunny, a small piece of plastic, some random shadow on the wall. Your air conditioner could have kicked on and the breeze it created moved a leaf on a houseplant. So your cat saw it and took a lap, ran over to stalk it. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's invisible, doesn't mean it's not there. The next reason for this invisible chase, it could be based on sound alone. Nothing is there at all, but the cat is drawn in by a noise, a sound, something different and a bit atypical. It's not uncommon for cats to run in the direction of a noise, a sound, unfamiliar vibrations, let's call them. The next one, similar in some ways to the first, is it's something to them and you see it too, but you declare it as nothing. Could be your version of invisible, my version of invisible, and I think if we're all honest, this could be possibly the most common of all possibilities. Does this exchange sound familiar to you? What's the cat doing? What's the cat chasing? Oh, nothing, it's just some bag on the floor and napkin. Well, the invisible is seen by you, but because it's not something of interest to you, it's not something that you chase, it could qualify as not being a point of interest at all. In short, because it makes no sense to you, it's just chalked up as being invisible. You find yourself possibly looking for something more because the truth of what your cat is really chasing is just something that you'd find quite silly. Well, it's always worth remembering that so much of what a cat, what can capture a feline's interest is likely very much silly to us. It doesn't take too much to get a cat's attention. One way to know this for a fact, you ask? Well, just go down the cat aisle of a local store, a pet store, a big box chain. Look at the toys, the cat toys. Some feathers on a stick. You know what I mean. That's not much to us, but that's everything to a cat. In the feline world, there's really no such thing as off limits in terms of potential interest and excitement. When you understand that to be true, chasing what amounts to the invisible will make a lot more sense. And finally, the last reason as to why cats chase invisible things and what could really be going on, well, it could actually be an invisible thing. Like I mentioned earlier, fantasy, make-believe, or rather, make-believe an object's importance. If a cat is bored, has that pin-up energy, and is not able to play and act on those basic instincts, they'll create a scenario. Anything can become a chase. I'll use another human example to describe this one. Any sports fans out there in the audience of Senior Cat Wellness? Well, did you ever imitate your favorite baseball player's batting stance in the mirror when you were young? Not using an empty cardboard paper towel roll, but nothing in your hands? You just put your hands together and batted full swing and all. But you're not holding a thing. Well, that's all about fantasy. Invisible. You didn't even have the bat, but in your mind, it was absolutely Game 7 of the World Series, and everything was on your shoulders. The whole season was up to you. This is like a cat chasing nothing. So let's recap. There's really something there that your cat is chasing. It's just so small that you can't see it. Your cat's responding to a sound or sounds. Your cat is chasing something that you can see, but because it means nothing to you, you chalk it up as indeed nothing. That's quite common, I'd suggest. And finally, your cat is, in fact, chasing nothing. No, seriously, nothing. Something that no one can see because it's really not there. Your cat is truly living up to the title of this very video. Your pet is Babe Ruth without the bat because boredom and pinup energy are winning the day. Felines, they are indeed a body in motion, and healthy cats don't need a reason to move. They don't need a reason to hunt and stalk and capture. It's just who they are. It's what they do. Taking a lap as a loving cat owner, as long as your pet isn't knocking over a lamp on the way by, hey, just enjoy the ride. The chase. It's one of the many beautiful things that make cats so very special. To the audience of Senior Cat Wellness, any chase stories that you'd like to add to the mix, perhaps some that are rather humorous? I'm sure you've got several. In that comment section, as always, it's all yours, and if you enjoyed this content, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. I'd certainly love to have you as a member of the Senior Cat Wellness family, and until next time, thank you so very much for watching, and I will talk to you later.